What's going on, Wastelanders? Stu Pedasso here for Draco Invictus, and I am giving you a behind-the-scenes tour of all this wiring stuff. I think I got this figured out.
Stu, I got it.
Draco, what are you doing here?
Stu, I got this. You don't need to worry about it. I'll explain it to him. It'll make a whole lot more sense coming from me.
Well, all right, if you think that that's what we need to do.
Yes, Stu, that's what we need to do. Take a break, buddy. I got it from here. What's going on, Wastelanders? Draco Invictus here, and I am giving you just a little update video of Stu's adventures. And this is actually the first time that I have interfered with Stu's commentary about his adventures through the Wasteland. And I just wanted to jump in here real quick and give you guys an explanation of how this factory actually works. And basically what I did is I went into build mode and I turned off, or I disabled all the things that were hiding everything else. As you can see, it is a clusterfuck of wires, but it honestly, it all makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let me explain this, and this is it. Okay, these wires here, and then of course the individual wires that are running maybe to each of the hoppers, but that's what those four are, you know, or running to the delivery mechanism up here, you know, or any of the sorters or anything upstairs. Because if you notice, you don't see any wires other than the straight runs up, because I literally have to power the top of it somehow, and I didn't want to do conduit just for that little bit. So anyway, let me explain this to you real quick. Our main power line, this conduit right here, is coming from our main power, which is way in the back corner. I don't know if I actually showed this to you guys or not, but Stu went out with Sturgis. Him and Sturgis went out and commandeered the reactor from Vault 111. I mean, literally, Sturgis took the whole damn thing apart, brought it over here, and set it back up. They put it in this these thick walls, so maybe they don't radiate the crap out of each other. So anyway, that is where we're getting the bulk of this power. Because this place, if everything was on, runs at about 130, I want to say 130 some odd power. Now, of course, not everything is running all the time, so the power needs are actually much less than that, but it's still pretty well up there. So we needed something pretty big. So this is the main line coming in, and it goes to the main switch, and then the main switch feeds to that. Okay? And you can kind of see how everything is hooked up here. You're like, well, why are you feeding the main to here? It all makes sense. Because this actually needs to feed the sorter without going through the AND. But the AND actually needs power from both of these units, so that's why it's hooked up like that. Honestly, I made it more complicated than it needs to be, but I kind of, you know, helped Stu with that just because that's him. You know, he is way over the top, and that's what I love about this guy. You know, so do I need a bunch of AND gates and all this stuff? No. Stu wants to put in more switches, and he wants to put in more logic gates and all that stuff. So we may see that at some point later on, maybe not during this challenge, but in the further adventures of Stu, we may see something like that. So be prepared. So then basically, once these two units, now again, this AND gate is not needed, because I could have the pull get its power from the sort. So this wouldn't turn on until the sort was turned on. You wouldn't even see a power light over here until this was turned on. You don't need that at all, but it's there. It's all the show of the whole thing that Stu wanted. So that's what Stu did. So, and then you turn on your sorter, and then our gate fires off because now it's getting both inputs from both sources. And now the pull works, okay? And you can see these goes down here. And basically the pull just goes from here right over to that hopper. And then its second line is going Where is the second line going? Shit, I don't remember. I mean, I could figure it out. I could start grabbing this stuff in build mode and figuring it out and stuff like that. But the sorter is feeding over, obviously, to the component sorter over there in the corner. And I don't know where that's actually going. I don't know what that other one's for. Because the only thing that the pull's needed is for that unit. So now here's one thing that to explain warehouses a little bit. This sorter runs the recycler, because notice it has no wire hooked up to it. It also runs this lift, and it also runs this conveyor workshop storage. Anything on the same belt shares power. So if this was all one continuous belt, if I didn't have the drops, see here, that's why I put this drop in here. So that the puller, which is feeding this lift, that's not on right now because the puller's not on, it drops things onto here. So it's a separate power. That's why you'll see me do drops like that. So the delivery system, hence just this little, set of conveyor belts, is on its own switch, versus the forges, which are all interconnected because they all have belts directly connecting them. Now I am running some factory mods that like conveyor belts extended, the conveyor barriers, small stuff like that. I actually have access to upward running conveyor belts, but in all of my testing, they suck. Because anything that can roll will roll, including copper bars, lead bars, steel bars, boxes, little boxes of screws or gears or something. Nope. They will not go up the belt. They all just keep rolling down. So, which is why I use uplift, the uplift conveyors whenever. And I have access to down conveyors as well, but honestly, Stu likes seeing shit fall from the sky, so that's why we have this set up like this. Okay, so back to the wiring, but yeah, I am running a couple manufacturing mods that give me some additional functionality, like the conveyor storage, or that storage unit back here is not part of the base game. The conveyor workshop storage. There is a conveyor storage that's part of the DLC. But this actually puts the stuff back in the workshop versus just storing it in here. So that is a great feature for just putting the stuff that you don't need back into your workshop. Okay, so these run to their respective, this runs to the sorter, this runs to the hopper, obviously lights run to lights. Now, up here, you can see this is a big, huge cluster of wires. And it may be easier to get at it, over here. Okay, so this is your main line. Or no. See, I don't know why that's running there. That's running to the 308, and I don't think it needs to. Yeah, it's running to the but it's, see, look, it's running to the 308, and hell, I don't know. Oh, I know what it is. Those, the puller has to be on before you can use any of the ammo stuff. So that's what that is. Okay, I got it figured out. All right, so this looks like a huge mess of wires, and it is, but everything has a purpose. So this is obviously the transfer from the pull switch to the 3 ammo type switches. And then the row of 4 is actually going all the way up to those connectors up there, which is what those up there. Okay? So this row of 4 connectors are what feed the hoppers. Okay? Tells the hoppers to turn on or off. Now this row here is, these are the diverters. Okay? So, yep, that's exactly what these are. So you can see here that the 308 diverter, which is on that end of the line up top, when that switch comes on, it tells the little arm, the swing arm on the Y, it tells it to swing over so that all the stuff gets pointed in the right forge. Okay? And then, so for 45, I don't even know why that's not connected. Well, that's no good. I mean, seriously, why is that not connected? I'm not seeing a wire there. But yeah, that's exactly what those are for. So, interesting. I'll have to check that out. And then these two last ones here are going to... the hell are they going to? It goes to there and to there. Oh. That turns out these are the power for the forge and the delivery. That's what those two are for. So that's what all those connectors are for. And then this connector is for our elevator. And once everything is... can we squeeze it through that way? No, we'll go this way. And then over here, this is fairly simple. There are 4 conduits or connectors just barely buried, and when you're in build mode, it looks like a dime. It lights up like a dime. I have just the very tip of them sticking out, and they're all over the floor. You know, this isn't buried very deep. It's literally right underneath that tile right there, and the same thing goes for all of these. See, if you look right there, that little shiny bit that's right above my crosshair, that's actually the very top of that connector. And so I always have access to them. I don't bury them so deep. I bury them just deep enough that the wires are all hidden. So these obviously feed the 4 hoppers. They connect to these connectors down here that then feed back over to there. So that's it. I mean, it seems kind of crazy and a lot of wires running all over the place. But at the end of the day, it's just make sure that you hook the right connectors to the right things. And I'm getting back into build mode so I can enable all this stuff again so it shows back up. Otherwise, I'll forget, and yeah, it won't be good. So, and for some weird reason, the settlement, because my settlement, you know, goes way out there, you know, because the concrete or the brick wall, the castle wall, is on the other side of that wall there. But for some weird reason, here at Starlight, it keeps the original border, which sucks, but whatever. All right, so let's come over here and enable all of our disabled objects. And now everything's back the way it should be. And so yeah, and this was a great learning experience for me because I had never really messed with the factory stuff in any significant way. And I definitely learned a lot, and there was definitely going to be more that I'm going to apply to this. And like I mentioned, or like Stu mentioned in the tour video, as long as you isolate your the forges, like put them on their own power supply with their own terminal, program them, and then drop them in here, there's no reason. I mean, there are 10 different ammo types that this system can currently build. And they're the 10 ammo types that are in the base game. You can't design any DLC ammo from contraptions, which is kind of goofy. You think that they would have done an update for contraptions so that it would have picked up all of the ammunition from the different games. Anyway, you could have 10 different forges in this room. Obviously, it'd have to be a whole hell of a lot bigger. But and divert stuff to make any individual ammo that you wanted to, depending on what your needs were. So there were a couple things that I would have liked to have done, and Stu mentioned them briefly. Because you could hook a hopper that literally sucks everything right out of this ammo plant, or this one, whatever. And see that they're all empty right now, but you could have a hopper coming out some other direction. See, and I just don't have the room in this building. Normally you would design your factory and then put the walls up around it. But I knew that I had a certain footprint, which made this ultra challenging to fit everything in here and still be able to at least move around a little bit. But anyway, you could put one of those vacuum hoppers right next to this thing, and it would literally throw a switch, and I would call it the purge system, and it would all the vacuum hoppers would fire off up here, and they'd literally suck everything out of all of the forges and put it back into the workshop, or put it into some sort of storage or something like that, so that I didn't have to come up here and empty it out all the time. So that's one thing I definitely would have added, and there's a couple other little things that Stu wanted, but for time and space considerations we just didn't get to. Now this particular belt right here is one that is from it's either from Manufacturing Extended, or there's another one that I'm running that runs as a companion, and basically it is a crossways belt. It's not this is a crossways and that's a crossways, whereas this is just a short piece of conveyor belt. This actually, if you notice, it has no edges like these do. They're designed to change direction, and I could literally snap this piece, flip it 180 degrees, and then everything coming out of this forge would then go to the left. But as I have it, it comes out, goes to the right, and then it goes to the left that way and goes down the line. So if you're interested in factory stuff, please feel free, hit me up down in the comments section, or on Twitter, or on Facebook, or on Discord. Find me, ask questions, let's talk about it. I love the factory stuff. Do I know that it's not practical? Yes. Am I still going to use it? You bet your sweet ass I am, because it is a ton of fun to figure this shit out. To figure out how to put all of this together was an absolute blast. I mean, shit, look at all this steel that's just piling up here. Oh, sweet Lord, Stu, you can't leave your shit just sitting here. That's what happens when you turn the system off in the middle of a run. But anyway, yeah, see, he's already got 556 steel in there. But yeah, if you guys are interested in the manufacturing aspect and working with the conveyor systems and stuff like that, please feel free to talk to me about it, because like I said, it was a lot of fun to do this, and I'll definitely be using it again. So until next time, Wastelanders, you take care of yourselves out there. This is Draco Invictus for Stu Pedasso saying this has been the greatest day in my life. See ya!